Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fee.
Good morning once again to all of you. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Razak Musbao, and it's this news flash right here on Prime Morning. And today, so much to talk about because Parliament started, resumed sitting just earlier this week, and already quite some very topical matters have arisen from the chamber. We'll get into it very shortly, but also the Attorney General yesterday reviewed what he described as rumble in the jungle in his government quest to execute the oral agenda. We'll get into that. Of course, the biggest one has to do with the former CEO of the National Buffer Stock. We'll get into that. We'll break down the presentation by the Attorney General in a PowerPoint very shortly. I'll do that for you very shortly for those of you who do not fully appreciate what this is all about. Just introduce my guest, by the way. Lawyer Kwame Jantuah has joined us. It's been a while we saw him, but good to have him back. Counsel, good morning. Good to have you back once again.
Good to be back.
Yeah, great. And the fine-looking young man, Dr. Palgrave, is here. Today he's looking very stylish. Love it. Love the color he's brought on the show today. And Doc, good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Ms. Bao.
I'm brimming with smiles. You can see that.
Really
I love
good to
it.
be here.
Yeah.
It's the joy and the excitement of the fact that the new Patriotic Party is going to have a new flag bearer, the Honorable Kennedy Ejapong, as the next flag bearer of the new Patriotic Party. We have an election on the 31st of January 2026. I mean, no doubt in my mind that all the delegates are going to be voting for him. And I'm glad as well that the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was able to meet the rank and file of all the presidential aspirants.
Yeah.
It tells you the formidable nature of our political party. And special greetings to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo this morning, special greetings to President John Ajukwu Nkufu, and special greetings to my candidate, the Honorable Kennedy Ejapong.
Interesting. You like the color red?
Absolutely. It bemoans a lot of hope, a lot of aspirations, very positive energy. And you are aware of the red in our Ghana flag, which reminds us of the toil of our forefathers and the blood that they labored to be able to give us the independence that we have. So it's important that we remember our generation and remember our roots that we're coming from.
Also, are you saying that you wore the red because it's in the Ghana flag, or you wore the red because of shaggy reasons?
Oh, what kind of shaggy reasons would that be?
Interesting. Talking of remembering things, remember to add to your breakfast today Royal King cracker. Remember to add it to your wards bag as they head to school. Remember to add it to your bag itself as you head out today. Definitely highly recommended. Make sure the hunger does not finish you today. Get this by your side and make sure it keeps you nourished and energized throughout the day. Morning, noon, and evening, you can always rely and depend on Royal King Cracker. A big thank you also to Franco Trading Enterprise for the support on the show. Phone Papa Pathia. You can get all kinds of devices there, so make sure you patronize their offices in and around the country. You can find any phone at all. The latest iPhone, the latest Samsung, Franco Trading Enterprise is where you can find it all right? So we recommend it highly to you. Let's get into the newspapers very quickly. After that, we'll get into the oral presentation by the Attorney General yesterday. We've got a PowerPoint to share with you. We'll get into that very shortly. But let me start with the Finder newspaper. The Finder newspaper has on the front page here, transport, digital services lead job creation surge. That story is on page 12. And fundamentally, making the case that transport sector and the digital services appears to be the sectors that are employing the most. Most Ghanaians seem to find themselves there at the moment, maybe probably second to agriculture in the country. Now, you talk about the Bank of Ghana governor is also here. He said, I want to be remembered for making cedi currency of choice. That's according to the Bank of Ghana governor. And currently the cedi has been doing some pretty good job against the dollar. Ghana pushes for modernized South-South trade pact, and smuggled vegetable oils threaten livelihoods of over 1.2 million Ghanaians. So the Finder newspaper, with a lot of emphasis on business stories, is also here. Let me just do the business analyst, and I'll come to Lawyer Jantuah to share with us what he's got. The business analyst, also GGA pledges support for Gomwa Central Economic Zone. And you've got Ghana's next industrial powerhouse unveiled, which is the Gomwa Central Economic Zone. And assets of former Buffer Stock CEO and wife frozen. And the former Buffer Stock CEO has also spoken. He denies involvement in the alleged 78.3 million diversion. And the informal cross-border trade hit 7.4 billion Ghana cedis in the fourth quarter of last year. That's how much, trade took place. Now let's go to Council now. You've got the daily guide, right?
I have the daily guide, yes.
Yeah.
And the headlines, good morning to our viewers. The headlines on front of the daily guide is Gold Board opens fabrication and refinery license application, which I think is a good thing. If we can, get people to add value to our gold, that's a good thing. Get more money there. NSA scandal. Gift Mensa gets 10 million bail. So we come back to the bail situation. Looks as if the intensity of your alleged crime will attract a heavy
bail.
Bail, so. But I don't see anybody complaining about this.
Interesting, isn't it?
I don't see anybody complaining about it.
Maybe because it's coming from the courts. Most of the others have come from Yoko.
Whatever the case is, she's innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
We should be very mindful of that. Then the big headline on here is Buffer Stock, 78 million theft. AG freezes assets of former CEO. That's a foregone conclusion, so I don't think I would like to even go into that. But he also is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
He will have his day in court. But the most interesting one for me is you will pass anti-LGBTQ plus bill. Minority tells government.
Why do you find that interesting?
It looks as if we are playing a political football with LGBTQI. And the majority leader indicated that it's already been what?
Yeah, it's been passed, he says. We'll get into it.
It's already been passed. So let's get into it extensively because really...
So, largely, those are the things in the front page of the daily guide.
The other thing is that this fabrication thing that Gold Board is doing, we shouldn't politicize it. Shouldn't politicize it. We should be very sure of the source of the gold that will come into these fabrication yards.
Yeah.
So that it's not galamsey. Really need to do something about galamsey. Because it's gradually killing the people of Ghana. Gradually. I understand it's reached Accra. Yes, I saw a headline yesterday.
Wow. Wow. Interesting. Doc, you've got the Ghanaian Times, right?
Yes, I have the Ghanaian Times, and on the front page says that be patient. Mr. Dominic Ayene, he's actually a doctor. Dr. Dominic Ayene, AG pleased with Ghanaians over recovery of loot and prosecutions. On the front page as well, reviving Ghana Airways, President Mahama hints of public-private partnership. The informal cross-border trade hits 7.4 billion Ghana cedis in Q4 2024, and that's according to the Statistical Service. Long-term inclusive national development plan unveiled on page 11, and the former NSA deputy director granted bail in 38 million case. On page 4, there's an editorial that says establishment of Rights Development Board must be given urgent attention. I'm very interested in this story. And my leader in Parliament, Afenyo Markin, says that Parliament is yet to receive documents on government flagship programs. And on page 11, which is what I read, the long-term inclusive national development plan unveiled, and that is by the National Development Planning Commission. I'm very clear that this is very important for our continuous development. It says that a 30-year developmental framework has been designed to guide design, finance, and implementation infrastructure works in Ghana. And I think that is good. It's good to go.
Interesting. Well, I'll just wrap it up with the Insight newspaper, which has got SMG calls for action. That's the Socialist Movement of Ghana, calling for action against environmental vandalism by capitalist elites, reject imperialism and neoliberalism. The Socialist Movement of Ghana. Then,
those are words of Nkrumah.
Indeed. And you can understand why this is also the paper of Mr. Kwesi Pratt. Gold Board opens application for jewelry and refinery licenses is also there. And this one also, imperialism cannot make us abandon the path of socialism, reaffirms Cuban foreign minister, is also captured here. And China condemns U.S. airstrikes in the Caribbean, backs Venezuelan sovereignty, and African scholars meet in Singapore for groundbreaking international education conference. And finally, chiefs residents in Ayensuano district threaten violence over alleged land seizure by estate developer. So those are the stories on the various front page of the newspapers. But of course, big is the briefing by the Attorney General yesterday and the development from Parliament. We're going to get into the PowerPoint, but and if we can please just get us the Attorney General briefing very shortly. I'm sure we'll find it there in our documents. Let's hear from the Attorney General very briefly, an excerpt of it very shortly, and then we'll get into the details of the issues he unraveled. And so let's hear from the Attorney General briefly right now, and then we'll break it all down for you.
Important crop with high domestic and export potential.
According to the Attorney General, among the properties owned by the former Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Buffer Stock Company, Abdul Hanan Wahab, that have been frozen by the state with steps initiated to confiscate them include, but not limited to, a number of residential properties across the country. A fixed deposit account containing 10 million Ghana cedis, a 5-bedroom house at Chain Homes valued at $1.6 million, a 3-bedroom house at Cantonment worth $600,000, a 17-bedroom boutique hotel in Tamale valued at $250,000, and several other assets acquired between 2018 and 2024, which he says were purchased with proceeds of crime.
1. A 5-bedroom house bought from Chain Homes Limited between February 2019 and December 2020 at a cost of $1,625,000. Of this amount, $5,758,165 Ghana cedis, that is the equivalent of 230,841 United States of American dollars, was paid directly from the accounts of the investigated entities. The balance was paid in cash to Chain Homes by the couple. In July 2020, the couple purchased a 3-bedroom house at Cantonments from Golden Coast Developers Limited at a cost of 600,000 United States of American dollars, using two of their companies, Fahausa Ventures, owned by the wife, and Fahausa Company Limited, owned jointly by the couple. The land documents were, however, registered in the name of their wife. Between October 2019 and February 2021, the couple purchased plots at Fanali's airport development site for 750,000 United States of American dollars. The total payments were made in cash in the name of Faiza Seidu. We have the cash, receipts from the developer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, other properties acquired by the couple are as follows: a 17-bedroom boutique hotel at Gumani in Tamale, in respect of which the couple used Fahausa Company Limited to sign a franchise with Villa Monticello for the price of $250,000. In other words, $250,000. So they wanted Villa Monticello to run it as if it is a Villa Monticello hotel. So they paid $250,000 to Villa Monticello, in order to hide the identity of the hotel.
The AG says the former Baffa stock boss and his wife have been charged. The charges will be filed on Friday, October 24.
Bank documents obtained by EOCO revealed that within the period that the suspects operated this criminal enterprise, Mr. Abdul Wahab and his wife and their entities became the largest depositors at Republic Bank, and the branch was at Labone branch. Lastly, we have frozen all the assets of Anan that I have listed, including a 10 million Ghana cedis fixed deposit account at Republic Bank, Labone branch. That is the liquid assets. We've done the freezing, including those of the vehicles. So on account of the foregoing, we have decided to charge Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, with stealing, conspiracy to steal, causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, obtaining public property by false statements, and money laundering. The charges will be filed on Friday, and I have the charge sheet, the draft charge sheet, which I am reviewing here.
The Attorney General has also been responding to claims that the government's Operation Recover All Loot initiative is moving at a slow pace. Dr. Ayini has also served notice of plans to amend the charges in the National Service Fraud case following revelations from a forensic audit conducted by the Auditor General. The audit found that the financial loss to the state has increased significantly from 548 million cedis.
Yeah, so that's the Attorney General. You heard my colleague Masola Gbagba. He is based at the Jubilee House, and of course he was there when that press briefing was being done. Interesting, very interesting. Now, let's just break it down a bit for you, because this is a very important aspect of the President John Mahama governance, his last term in government, the oral policy, if you want to call it, by government, Operation Recover All Loot. It was a major campaign promise. It counts as among the top 5 campaign promises that the government, preach to the people of Ghana. If you look at the number of days that government has been in power now, just look at it, 9 months and just a few more days, 2 weeks and some 1 day. That is how long the President Joe Mahama governance has run for, all right? 9 months, 2 weeks, 1 day. Now, as I mentioned earlier, these were the key campaign messages by the president at the time, all right? You talk about the economy, you talk about employment, you talk about education, then you talk about corruption. And that's where you find Operation Recover All Loot. Very important campaign promise. And it explains why a lot of people every now and then are constantly asking, how far with Operation Oral, how far with Oral, how far with Oral? And some people are complaining that government is slow about it. And you saw that on the Ghanaian Times newspaper today with the Attorney General saying that, well, it's a process, so be patient with us. But let's get into the subject of corruption. All right, let's get into the subject of corruption. On the subject of corruption, what fundamentally we are, being told relating to the delays has to do with the oral report, the fact that it lacks more evidence. The Attorney General is explaining why some of these matters delay. The Attorney General says when the oral report was presented to them, remember there was a whole press briefing there, media briefing, when the Okujuta Blakwa and the oral committee presented it. The Attorney General says for a number of the reports, they lack evidence. So now they have to do their own investigations to get evidence to facilitate prosecution. That explains the delay. And he says that because of that, as I said, they had to do a lot of investigations, and in some cases, investigations are ongoing. And he said the aim fundamentally is to ensure that when they take the matter to court, it doesn't suffer a dismissal, but they can secure conviction. They don't want to take it to court and say, oh, well, you didn't do your investigations well, so the matter has been thrown out of court. They want to make sure that it is a watertight prosecution. So when they present the evidence, you have no choice that maybe to accept guilt or etc. So fundamentally, that's what the Attorney General says explains for the delays. Now, if you look at the cases that were submitted to the presidency, as far as oral is concerned, 230 cases. 230 cases. It was a huge pile of papers. 230 cases. And according to the Foreign Minister, Mr. Okujuta Blakwa, at the time when he was doing the presentation, he indicated that if government explores all of those 230 cases, the state will be able to recover to the tune of $21.1 billion. If all these cases are extensively explored, this is how much the state can recover from it. But what did government, after exploring all the reports that Oral presented, what did government have to say, especially about the figure? The Deputy Attorney General had this to say. He said the evidence we are receiving shows that the $21 billion will be on the high side. So contrary to the expectation that the 230 case that Oral received as far as reports are concerned, and the fact that Oral will be able to at least recover to the tune of $21 billion, the Deputy Attorney General says, after looking at all the reports, the $21 billion is a bit on the high side. Oral might not be able to recover $21 billion, but they will recover some. Okay, now let's get into Oral, what the Attorney General has done so far. 17 cases. After, of course, we'll be monitoring the Attorney General's press conferences every now and then. He's held quite a number of press conferences. And if you monitor all of it, 17 cases is what he has announced. 17 cases. Of the 17 cases, 2 cases are currently in trial. And of course, one of it has to do with the National Service Scheme. Of course, we mentioned it in the news. 10 million Ghana cedis bill has been granted. Madam Gifty Owari. And also the National Signal Bureau, a Dubois case, that's also in court. Then we also understand that 10 cases, investigations have completed. We'll get into those cases. And 5 are still under investigation. So 17 cases under Oral, 2 cases are currently in court, 10 investigations have been completed, and the Attorney General is looking to file charges in court. And then 5 investigations are still underway at the moment, all right? Now, let's get a bit more into detail now. The cases that have been concluded, the drip procurement, and yesterday, the Attorney General gave us an update that as far as the contract for this one, there was some overpayment to the tune of $2 million. He said the contract was supposed to $176 million, but $178 million was paid. So there's a bit of an overpayment there. And so he's going to look into it further and see if they can get something out of it. The SML GRA deal, yesterday the Attorney General says this matter also, investigations have been concluded and you see some prosecution started very soon. Sputnik vaccines also, investigations have been completed and we are likely to see some prosecution. The free Wi-Fi, remember that initiative by government in the various secondary schools also, investigations have been completed into it and we'll see some charges, etc. But the cases that are still under investigation have to do with the All-African Games. This matter was also very topical. Very topical. And the president promised that they will look into it. Then the mathematical sets that were distributed to the various senior high schools, that matter is also still under investigations. Then the Bank of Ghana building, remember? Beautiful Bank of Ghana building over here. The Attorney General says they are still doing investigations on that matter. And the National Cathedral is also one issue that we understand investigation is still underway on it. All right, great. Now, let's get a bit more also now. And this is the big one from yesterday. This is the big one. This is the big one. This man here is Hanan Abdul Wahab. He's a former CEO of the Ghana Buffer Stock Company. All right? The Ghana Buffer Stock Company. And what the Attorney General fundamentally is saying that he has misappropriated the tune of 50.8 million Ghana cedis. 50.8 million Ghana cedis. Of course, right after the Attorney General did his presentation, he went to his Facebook page, Mr. Hanan Amin, and released a statement and made the point that, made the point that he denies all the allegations and the fact that the Attorney General put out are incorrect. So he will have his day in court. But this is the charge against him. This is the charge against him. Now, according to the Attorney General, the 50 million which he apparently misappropriated, this is what he used them for. He says, that's according to the Attorney General, again, $1.6 million was used to buy a 5-bedroom house. $600,000 was used to buy a 3-bedroom house. The Attorney General again alleges that $750,000 was used to purchase a land. $250,000 was used to purchase a 17-bedroom hotel. 4.1 million Ghana cedis was used to buy a 4-bedroom house. And some 307,000 Ghana cedis was used to purchase a government land. All right? So this is what the Attorney General says he used the 50.8 million Ghana cedis for. Now, the charges that have been brought against him, and the Attorney General says tomorrow it will be officially presented to the court and the entire prosecution will start. He's been charged with stealing. He's been charged with conspiracy to steal. He's been charged with causing financial loss to the state. He's been charged with using public office for profit. He's been charged with obtaining public property by false statement and also charged with money laundering. These are the charges that the former CEO of the National Buffer Stock will be facing. These are the charges he will be facing. And we understand that fundamentally, he and his wife will have to, defend themselves in court. And as we say all the time, he is innocent until proven guilty. And as I said, this is what he said. He says, the claims are untrue and do not reflect the facts of the matter. That's according to the former National Buffer Stock CEO. He's responded. He says, all these claims that he stole 50.8 million Ghana cedis from the state are not true. But the Attorney General says, well, he can come and answer those questions in courts, fundamentally. So that's what we have from you, from the Attorney General's update yesterday. We're going to get into their conversation now. And maybe I'll start with counsel to help us understand legally the gravity of this matter, to really appreciate how big such an issue and how serious the charges that have been leveled against the former CEO really are. Counsel.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What do you really want me to say? There are charges, aren't there?
Yeah, help us understand. How serious are these charges?
They are grievous. They're grievous, but whilst you were going through it, one thing that came to mind is that are all these properties that they're talking about in existence?
Yes, they are in existence.
If they're in existence, does he owe or own these properties?
Does he own them?
Yes.
Yes, he owns them.
He owns them.
Yes.
Have we gone to his declaration of assets?
Have he gone to
The declaration,
his declaration of
assets? Because he's supposed to declare his assets. So have we gone there?
Have you gone to check
Have
whether...
we gone to check to see whether all those assets were in his declaration of assets?
That's a valid question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And maybe the Attorney General has done all this, and because of that, he knows the charges that he's giving put on him will stick. The Attorney General's responsibility is to make sure that he secures a conviction in court.
And just to follow up a bit, you make the point that relative to these properties, of course, you are trying to find out were they acquired within the time he was the CEO.
Yes.
Yes, that's a very valid question. And I'm sure it's something that Attorney General will want to respond to. Because like he said, he would have declared his asset.
He has to declare his assets.
And if he had, we go and check when he declared his assets.
And all these assets are
were not there.
Yes.
If they were not there, then he raises eyebrows.
Exactly.
If they were there,
yes.
Then
and if they were there, has he paid the required taxes and tariffs for these properties? And if it was there, he needs to prove how did he get the money then to purchase all these properties.
Before he went into...
Yes.
Really?
Yes. 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 So you've got all these properties, you put it in your declaration of assets. You're now being accused of buying properties while you're in office. Definitely. They'll ask you, so how did you acquire these properties before you came into, into government? And you need to be able to tick the box. I got this, it was probably...
Well, then that was more like a lifestyle audit, sort of. Yeah, because...
It is not lifestyle audit. It is being able to prove.
And is that applicable to any Ghanaian at all?
It's applicable to anybody who is accused.
Because before he went into office...
Look, right now, you see me before I'm in government, I'm driving a posh Mercedes, what's the posh Mercedes called? No.
Oh,
the Maybach.
The Maybach.
I'm not talking, those are small ones. Driving a posh Maybach. And I'm being accused of And when I was driving that Maybach, definitely questions were being asked. Jantuah, where did you get this money?
That's before you went.
Before I went to the office. Now I get into office, and I'm being accused of buying an expensive property in cantonments. Are you trying to tell me that in my when they're investigating me, they would not ask me, how did you acquire money to buy the Maybach? They will ask you, because they've got to be able to establish that the money that you used to buy the Maybach, all the taxes and everything were paid.
Yeah.
And the kind of work you were doing to be able to afford it. Because they've gone into the bank account, haven't they? To find out what monies. And I'm sure they have looked at monies that have been paid into his bank even before he came into office. All that is evidence. So if you had some pound capre being paid into your bank account before you came into office, then all of a sudden, you are getting 100,000 cedis continuously in your bank account, graduating to 1 million and more. Definitely, questions will be asked. They've got to have watertight evidence. Remember, the burden of proof is on who?
It's on the state.
It's on the state. And you see, and this is where the challenge is. Politics has walked into the fray.
Really? How is that?
Yes.
How is that?
All this that is being done by the Attorney General, telling everybody everything is going on, Do you think if they go to court and they lose, it will not reflect on the party? Is the Attorney General an independent person and not a politician? Definitely it would reflect on the party.
I mean, understandably, especially, considering it was part of their campaign promise that we would do this for the people of Ghana.
Yes.
So, of course, they will hold them accountable.
So that is why he has to be able to prove. And remember, the wheels of justice grind slowly. Ghanaians want it quick. Investigations, Investigations, when investigations are being made, you, the prosecutor, needs to be sure, because there's a judge sitting there. The judge is listening to everything he is saying, and for the accusations that is being given, there are laws that reflect that. And the judge would have to apply the law to the evidence that is being given in court. So you've got to make sure. You've got to make sure that your evidence sticks and the appropriate law applies to that.
I mean, in terms of, in the event that he is found to have indeed engaged in this, what kind of punishment is he likely to suffer for this?
Well, it's a criminal act, isn't it? So you have, so far as I know, you have certain degrees of punishment that can be given. Can put you in for 5 years, put you in for 10 years. It could be a combination of seizure of your properties, payment of the money back, being put in there. It could be any of it, but at the present moment, we won't be able to say. But look, if it even so happens that one of the charges, all the charges are, he's been able to get through them, prove it, but one of the charges is against him, that's a win for government, isn't it? In as much as it's a win for government, it also reflects on the work that was done in terms of he being able to get off the other 5 or 6 and just one. So it is imperative. That's why probably the Attorney General is trying to tell the Ghanaians that, please, bear with us, because it needs to be strong and watertight. Can you imagine? Even if it's only one that he's accused of, and the rest he is resolved from. Can you imagine what the opposition will do? What the opposition will say? And the reflection on the Attorney General himself?
I mean, even the delay itself has generated a bit of political capital for the opposition. How much more?
Yes. And remember, the case can go to court and be adjourned for a certain duration of time.
And that is one of the challenges. And of course, the MPP government raised that. Look, we were doing our best in the fight against corruption, but the cases were dragging, and there's very little we can do about it.
But remember, I'm not sure whether it was in their manifesto, but they did say they were going to open special courts. So perhaps this will go to a special court. They cannot afford for oral, all the cases that has been selected where oral is concerned. They cannot afford for it to pass 2028. They cannot afford. For anything at all.
Yeah, but I mean,
and if you look, the Attorney General has selected specific cases that had got to do with what they said during the elections. If you look at it. So he has the duty to make sure that before President Mahama leaves office, all these cases will be done.
But realistically, is that possible?
Well, it depends on the kind of court. Courts can decide to sit at night. Courts can decide to sit throughout the day. Courts can decide to do anything. It's up to the judge. But if it is something that is serious, then why not?
Let me bring Doc in. Doc, let me get your first thoughts on all of this. I mean, this is government oral agenda, and it's grinding very hard on some of your former appointees.
Isabel,
yeah.
A very good morning to you, and very good morning to Lawyer Jantuah. And to state it that where we are as a country, we are creating a leadership of accountability. And it's important that we create that culture as a people. When you have opportunity to serve in leadership, it's important that you remain accountable. And when you have opportunity to serve in leadership as well, it's important that you become an example and a role model. I've seen the press releases that has come from the Attorney General. I've followed it very closely. Obviously, these are on the face value of it until a court of competent jurisdiction is able to bring finality to it. Whilst we are at it, it's important that we remain calm as a people. It's important that we continually build that environment of accountability, that when you're a leader, you must be accountable. And also remind President John Dramani Mahama that Sedinam Tamaklo is still not in Ghana to serve her full term of imprisonment. She has already gone through the legal justice, even though she was tried in absentia for taking 90 million Ghana cedis. Okay, so
but you were in government. Why couldn't you not, bring it down? Because
it's all the process of always she's sick. We wrote letters, and I mean all of that. So we're trying to say that it's a collective responsibility. That's why I began by saying that we're building a culture of accountability. Okay, and we need to build that culture of accountability. The reason why the developed countries have developed and is admirable to all of us is that their leaders are accountable, and also their leaders live by example. Okay, in some of the statements that came from the Attorney General, he stated and alleged that at a time, Republic Bank was having more money from the former CEO of Buffer Stock. It meant that his deposits were more. And he's not a businessman. He is not trading in anything, unless, of course, maybe he was doing some private business that we are not aware of it. But it bewills on us as public servants, as people that serve in the interest of the public, to remain accountable. And I'm always reminded of the fact that the good Bible says that a good name is really better than riches. And these are very troubling times, and so as a people, we need to build that culture.
But for what these kind of cases, even though at the moment nobody has been proven guilty, even in the minds of the public, because also part of it is public perception about your party when you were in government. To see all of these things come up, and some of the monies that's been mentioned, the Attorney General says now the NSA scandal is the tune of 2.2 billion, 50 million here. I mean, all these cases coming up from the time that your party was in government. Do you appreciate the public, how much of the impact it's having on your party in your quest to return to government?
I'll tell you something, these are, I would say that these are very isolated cases. I mean, the individuals must hold themselves accountable. It's
you think it doesn't stick on MPP anyway?
No, right now, and I'll be truthful and I'll be frank. I mean, it's really very difficult. You remember that our government went into IMF. What did we go to IMF for? We needed money. How much money did we need? 3 billion, right? US dollars. I mean, if you look at these figures that are coming out, it meant that some people didn't do our government well. Okay? Yes, I mean, that's what it is. It means other people did not do our government very well. They didn't help our government. So we need to, I'm just waiting for all the cases to finish up. Let's see how it went through. That's why when you have an opportunity to lead and to serve, you must be accountable. That's what I'm saying. If you sit at the top, obviously there will be cracks in the NDC government. John Dramani Mahama may not be aware of some of how his appointees are behaving until maybe another government comes and begins to do a proper scrutiny of things that has happened. And so if people have gone through these things and it's proven by the court that, yes, of course, all these allegations that have come is verified, all these monies is verified, everything is verified, then we can say very clearly at that time that these people did not help our government. But you cannot put that.
Then it adds to the track record.
No, you cannot put that on. No, you cannot put that on the track record.
But it happened under your watch.
No. You can't do that. You can't put that. It's an individual thing. You see, that is why all the people that are going, they are going in as individuals. You see, they are going in as individuals. They are going in with their names. All these people are going in with their names.
But then you look at it on this balance. These individuals are going there as individuals in the respective roles where they worked at Buffer Stock, at National Service, as National Signal Bureau. Every success that came out of those institutions were credited to your government. And today, these malfeasances that have been mentioned, of course, understandably, it will stick on your government.
No, I don't
just
think
like
so. That's why I'm trying to. You see, the framers of the policies of our government came from the top. We campaigned on things that we wanted to do for the Ghanaian people. Of course, in campaigning for the things that we want to do for the Ghanaian people, the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, cannot distribute himself across all the MMDACs and across all the ministries. He needs to appoint people to serve, to be able to deliver on the promises and the policies. Now, those promises and policies have been delivered, which is why the Ghanaian people are excited with the policies. If in the midst of the policies, someone becomes corrupt, how do you blame the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo? That's an individual character that must be isolated and distinguished very clearly. I mean, it's just an example of the fact that President John Dramani Mahama is president today. Okay, if he's shared appointments across the length and breadth of the country, and then people become dishonest and fall into corrupt activities, it bewills on that particular individual. And I'll give you an example. Just this week, the Greater Accra Regional Organizer of the NDC, Nupenu, was lambasting residents of Lakeside, okay? Whilst on that very same day, the President John Dramani Mahama was doing the big push in Western Region, okay, stating that they were going to do a lot of roads. And so you can't use that individual's Nupenu's description of lambasting the residents of Lakeside and stating that we will not do your road for you today, we will not do your road for you tomorrow, because what is your contribution to the national purse? When his president is also saying that he's investing 10 billion money into the big push. You understand what I'm saying? So the rationale really is that you cannot use the individual attitudes and characters of individuals to judge a particular government, especially when, absolutely. That's what I'm saying, especially when you know that the policies of government are being implemented. And so if the policies of government are being implemented and yielding the necessary impact and the necessary fruits and the necessary dividends of that, and in the midst of that, people are being corrupt. Those people that are being corrupt, that are not living up to the standards and the integrity, that's why I started by saying that we need to build that culture of accountability.
So where does responsibility lie? Within the value chain?
It lies with everybody. Absolutely.
Really?
Yes, the responsibility lies.
But there is an ultimate responsibility.
Who's supposed to monitor to make sure that those who have been appointed stick to what they're supposed to do? Because remember, President Mahama, he's brought in a code of conduct, isn't it? For all appointees. What does that mean? If you breach that code, you're out. That is what originally it means. What is being done is a separate thing.
Exactly.
However, it is the responsibility of the president to make sure that those he's appointed stick to what they're supposed to do. And if they do not do what they're supposed to do, it is up to the president to say, Ms. Bao, out. You haven't fulfilled the mandates that I gave you, out. So there's shared responsibility.
Because I think what this also raises is, of course, the only time we get to hear some of these things is when a government leaves power. But while they're in power, we hardly hear of it. We didn't never hear of this. Is there anything that can be done? And often you think maybe that's why there is this system of auditing of our agencies, just to try and verify payments that are made, money that is moved from one coffers to the others. Maybe that's the mechanism as a state we've put in place to check some of these things. But then you realize that even with that mechanism in place, it's not yielding the kind of result, because you wonder, how was this not flagged by maybe an auditor in any shape or form? Was this not flagged?
Ms. Bao, it's only in this Fourth Republic, it's only President Mahama who has decided to do something about the Auditor General's report. That alone is enough information for the president to act. And you see, this is where the challenge is. We've allowed partism and party politics to take the place of government. The moment you vote a party into power, they are government. The party really doesn't have anything to do with how the government is managed. That's why a government can decide, I'm going to have a national government. I'm going to bring others in. It's not the decision of the party. It's the decision of the president who has been elected and is president of the country. And so there's equal responsibility. That's why some of us have said, where Vice President Bawumia is concerned, he has equal responsibility to the challenges that have been faced with the Cathedral project. That he cannot wash away the fact that he feels he was not part and parcel of it. He's cabinet. He's in cabinet. He is the president's handbag. He is the only one who can discuss this thing one-on-one with the president at 12 midnight.
But you also make the point about ultimate responsibility.
They both have ultimate responsibility.
One has more ultimate responsibility than the other. There's one who has been elected to serve as president of the country.
Yes.
Yes.
And he decided to bring somebody on board.
Yes, and his role is defined. What he can do and cannot do is defined in the Constitution.
Let me ask you. I'm a father. I have a daughter. I preach to the daughter. I speak to the daughter. My wife is present with me when we are speaking to the daughter. The daughter goes out and misbehaves and comes back into the house with pregnancy. Whose responsibility is it? Is it really the father? The mother has nothing to do with it. She's not part and parcel of it.
This is a completely different case.
Why is it a different case?
The mother and father,
yes.
if you want to talk about the union,
yes.
These are two, I mean, you want to call it two become one.
Who chased who? Who chased who?
I mean, the role of a vice president can be the role of a wife.
Who chased who? Who chased who?
No, but you're talking about roles.
Let me finish. Listen to me. Who chased who?
Who chased who?
Yes, the man chased the woman, right? Who brought the vice president in? President. So, using my analogy, the wife is the vice president, the husband is the president.
That would be difficult.
This analogy does.
Yeah, that would be difficult.
Why would it be?
I mean, the role of a vice president, the role of a wife.
This is not.
Are you trying to tell me that the wife doesn't have? Are you trying to tell me that the wife doesn't have a huge role in the marriage?
Absolutely does.
Are you trying to tell? Wait. Are you trying to tell me that the vice president doesn't have a huge role?
He does have
exactly,
but not a marital role.
Yeah, but not in the context of wife.
Who brought the vice president?
No, not in America.
No.
But anyway,
who brought the vice president?
Yeah, fair enough. I think I get the point. But I mean, and maybe Doc, you want to come in on this one. The role of the Auditor General, because what the Attorney General fundamentally is saying is that he says the man has been charged with stealing, taking money from the national buffer stock, according to the Attorney General, into his personal account. And I'm wondering, with the mechanism we have, how is that possible? That somebody go take the money from just look at the quantum of the money, from the coffers of the national buffer stock into his personal account. The Auditor General, all right, for the past 8 years, has been auditing the national buffer stock, did not see, is that what is being said, that some money was taken
I think
from the coffers?
Ms. Bao, from the narrative of the Attorney General, it appears as though companies were formed and these companies were subletted with some responsibilities in terms of service. And it appeared as though on the merit of their investigations, they realized that these companies belonged to. So it's almost like a conflict of interest. That will be very difficult for an Auditor General to unravel.
Why?
Okay,
As to who the company belongs to?
Because the Auditor General would see that Company A has rendered service to this agency of government.
Yes.
Okay, but the Auditor General will not go into the merit of an investigation because the Auditor General is not looking into either conflict of interest. He's only trying to look into proper disbursement of funds or proper use of funds. So, but this investigation is going into a proper investigation to be able to look into the owners of the companies.
So the audit has certain limits.
I appreciate your point. Yeah, I appreciate your point. My assumption but the auditor would have some limitations in terms of looking into the background.
I'm trying to, and I won't say I'm right, but I'm trying to figure out in my mind. I'm an auditor, and I'm Auditor General, and huge sums of money have been voted for a particular project and is gone through a company. Doesn't it behoove on me to investigate or find out who owns that company, where that company comes from, the history of that company,
whether there was value for money,
whether they have the wherewithal to do the project, the kind of project they did. Did it stand the test of time? Because the Auditor General comes at the end of the year to do his, what do you call it? And if he finds discrepancies, shouldn't he go deeper? I find it a bit strange that my good brother will say, oh, his is just to look at whether...
But I mean, if you follow the work of the Auditor General, especially with the Public Accounts Committee, I've not seen a case where a conflict of interest situation has arisen in all the reports they've come up with.
Let's try and call one and talk to them for them to tell us.
Yeah, well, we can and maybe if we can reach
they've always come up with discrepancies on how monies have been spent.
Yeah,
always name it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Always.
That's true.
So if you've come 1, 2, 3. and you've seen a certain trend, will you not dig deeper? You should dig deeper. Because a lot of question marks.
Yeah, because, Council, one of the things I want us to also explore is oftentimes what we are looking at is let's punish an individual after they've engaged in the act. But let's also examine the systems we have to prevent these things from happening. Whether the systems are watertight. Because, look, in certain institutions and in certain other countries, it would be difficult, extremely difficult. There's no way you can hide. It wouldn't even have to require a special investigation. The system will catch you the moment you try to do something.
So that goes to show you we have, I shouldn't use the word, but it's the only word I can think of. We have a rotten system in terms of how monies are spent. You can see that there's a chain where people are benefiting along that chain to get to the final person. And it is happening. It's happening. As President Kufuor rightly said, we pretend to pay people and people pretend to work. A lot of the challenges we have are corrupt. A lot of the challenges.
No, that's a very profound point. We pretend to pay people.
Yes.
And people pretend to work.
Yes. Yes.
Because just about a few weeks ago, there was a case that came up at the local government committee, I think, or public account committee, public account committee. It had to do with a staff at the Tamale Teaching Hospital who had passed on and yet was receiving salary for 9 months. The individual who was making the payments actually attended the staff's funeral.
Let me ask you a question, and this comes to politicians. How much is it Imani? Imani or CDD indicated that a politician needs how much to stand for election?
Lots of money.
Yes. He mentioned...
the president needs how much to stand for election?
To win an election, actually.
To win an election. Yeah. The president said 200 million. Who earns 200 million in this country? Who? Tell me.
No, but the dynamics in winning an election, you get money from everybody. It doesn't...
From where?
I mean, you raise funds, isn't it? You have multiple people supporting you.
Why is Sarkozy in prison? Why is President Sarkozy in prison? He took money from who? Gaddafi. You're supposed to account for the money. And one of the things we don't do in this country, which is the responsibility of the Electoral Commission, is to find out how political parties make their money.
I mean, they're supposed to present...
And they are supposed to be able to ask, so, Ms. Bao, you're standing for this election. Give us the sources of your financing. It is a requirement. Do we do it? So you can see the lapse nature of some of the things we do where corruption is concerned. Because sometimes you feel, but corruption, you might think it won't catch you. It can take 10 years. It will catch you down the line. I asked myself the question, when I was listening to what the money was used for.
Yeah.
I asked him, so, brother, how much houses how many houses do you want? My philosophy is that, when I die, I'm not taking anything with me. So why should I get into this kind of nonsense? What are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove? And sometimes with some of these things, it becomes very difficult because people tend to want to show that, we've arrived. But remember, you are servant to the people. Yours, in that position they've given you, they've given the position to serve.
Yeah.
Do the right thing. And so why do we get all these things?
And I want to take...
And sometimes it's complicit. It goes quiet within the political party. They know it is happening, but nobody says anything. But it is up to people, whether in a political party where people are doing that, to expose people. And don't you think, if it so happened that the MPP government exposed some of these things whilst they were in power, we will not clap for them because they are able to expose their own in power. Will it not sanitize the system, as my good brother is saying, that we need to be responsible? It should, but we don't.
Yeah, and Doc, I want to take some messages, but I want you to just touch on this for me. I mean, because I often say that, it's, of course, the political capital out of this is that, yes, the NPP did not do well while in government, so we can ride on that to get more. But then we need a proper overhaul of the system. A proper overhaul of the system to make it difficult for some of these things to happen.
Who's going to bring that overhaul?
And Doc, that's what I want to get your thought on. I mean, you are an expert in governance and all of that. What do you think can be done to prevent these things from happening? Let's prevent them, even before we get to this stage and say, well, let's make sure we get stiffer punishment.
This is what I'll propose for the Ghanaian people. We need to move away from meism to a weism.
What does that mean?
So it's meism.
Personal interest.
It is me, personal interest, to a weism, okay? If you look at countries that have progressed, and I'll use an example of South Africa. When Nelson Madiba Mandela came out of prison after serving his tenure, especially in relation to the apartheid, one of the things that he did was that South Africa must be built on love. So he brought 8 themes. And I remember when I was doing an extended study in Pretoria, I studied about the 8 themes that brought healing to South Africa. One of them was love and forgiveness. Okay? And that is why he was able to serve for 1 term and hand over to Mbeki as president of South Africa. And so we need to be able to get to a place where we think about the collective interest of the people. So it should be a Ghana of weism. And it's one of the things that Dr. Jantuah, which is the propounder of the UGCC and part of the Big Six, was propounding the Ghanaism, that we need to ensure that we move from a place where we are thinking about ourselves to the collective interest of the Ghanaian people.
Why must we struggle to get jobs for people? Why must political parties come into power and when you want jobs, you must pay? Why must you pay to be employed? I mean, I don't understand. Why must you pay X amount of money for you to get an opportunity? Why must people finish university? 500,000 SSS people have gone into school this year. 500,000 people are coming out. People are beginning their national service. I am in opposition. I keep getting messages from people who are asking, can you help me get national service placement here? Why must that be so? Why shouldn't there be a good system in place where people that are finishing A school, B school, C school are getting placed in an environment where their studies will help them? So we need to be able to get into a moral fabric as a country where we would say that it's now a weism, Ghanaism, rather than a meism. That doesn't help us in any way. And obviously, governance is three things. It's trust, it's transparency, it's accountability. And I've been thinking about how we can reconstruct this thing. Because what President Mahama has is an opportunity that during his tenure, Ghana turned 70 years old. That's the awesome opportunity that he has. What we have as the next generation is that our children and the children that we are yet to give birth to, in their generation, Ghana will be 100 years old. And the data tells us that in the next 35 years, the entire continent of Africa is going to host the largest number of young people under the age of 25, which means that Africa is going to become the market. So how do we ensure that a burdened market like Africa is able to hold on to the weism rather than a meism? And the Singaporean Prime Minister just this week also stated very clearly that Singapore must clearly move away from the singular nature at which they think and also continue to ensure that they think about the plurality of the all right, let me take some messages from our viewers. Guys, can you give me the long version? Great. Good morning. This is Abdul Ganyu from Savannah region. He said these are some of the corrupt cases involving NDC members that will later discontinue. The AG is being biased, he says, and should end the media trial of former government officials. He should take the matter to court and prove his case there. Hanan has responded, denied all the allegations and vowed to defend himself in court. The AG has no moral authority to prosecute corruption cases after freeing several NDC members accused of similar offences upon assuming office. He entered noli prosequi in the cases such as Saglemi and Dr. Dufour, among others. He must stop conducting media trials of former government officials and instead present his evidence in court if he truly has a case. His actions have caused severe reputational damage to those he accuses, and that point must be strongly emphasized. Regarding the NAFCO matter, Hanan has responded, denying all allegations. We must hold the AG accountable. We're calling the president to dismiss the AG for his incompetence and his tendency to play to the gallery. Really? Interesting message there. Okay, let's get another one from Zainu, a brother at Zainu. Al-Hassan says, good morning to everyone. The Attorney General has been updating us about issues of corruption and stealing that has happened in the previous administration. What is his office doing and what his office is doing, and we must commend him for the update. But what is more important to Ghanaians is the recovery of all the monies and resources that allegedly have been stolen and punishing them when found guilty. The Attorney General and the court should make sure these monies are paid back to the state with interest, he says. Okay, quite a number of messages. Let me get, guys, can you pick the next one for me, please? Great, thank you. Hello, Joe Prime, please, is there any, okay. Presenters of, okay, I'm sure they will sort you out of the production room. The recent revelations by the Attorney General about the former CEO of the Buffer Stock Company for allegedly looting colossal sums of public funds to amass lavish properties for himself are both shameful and heartbreaking. There's yet another painful reminder of how some politicians have wickedly taken the ordinary Ghanaian for granted, enriching themselves while the masses wallow in poverty. Okay, let me just read a bit of it, especially the long one, so we can read more. Good morning, sir. You are being unfair to the former Buffer Stock CEO. Lawyer Jantuah, in his opening statement, asked you a question that all those properties in existence, and you said yes. Well, the Attorney General says they are in existence. That's according to that's what the Attorney General said, that he bought all these properties. So I'm not the one saying it. We're only speaking to what the Attorney General said, okay? He's asking me if I did the investigations personally. Again, those are from the Attorney General, all right? So we are just speaking to what the Attorney General presented, all right? Great. Let's get more messages on that one. He said, good morning. Every CD must be accounted for. Even those granted noli prosequi must pay back the money lost to the nation. No one should escape accountability.
Then he says, this one says, good morning. The whole issue about the former Buffer Stock CEO and wife cannot be attributed to the MPP government since it is due to their own personal interest and gain that has caused this. We should allow the law to follow a due process. And he said, greetings to Mr. Sami Ewuku. Then Alhaj G from Pig Farm says, good morning. In fact, I am sad, worried, and my heart bleeds for this nation. It is clear corruption is actually killing this country. And the earlier we do something about it, the better for this nation. I totally agree with the AG saying we should bear with them because they need to build a good case before moving to court. There will not be the need for him to rush the court only to see that his case will be thrown out from court. Gasti Man from Brekum has this to say. Can we have Gasti Man very briefly so we can just pick a few thoughts on the LGBT thing and wrap up? The Attorney General should get working and stop these press conferences. We are tired of these. Interesting. He says, we've had enough of press conference. Attorney General, if you've got evidence of wrongdoing, take it to court and skip the media shows, they say. And this one says, good morning. I'm Big Lasco from Garu. And okay. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I think those are the messages, right? This one says, the AG selectivity is my headache. He must come again. Okay. So those are the messages we got. And understand we have to make way for the next show. We have a National Science and Math Quiz contest also coming up later on the show. So we need to wrap up briefly. So, Council, we'll have to wrap it up. But final thoughts, and then we can call it a day.
Well, we look forward to their day in court. And for me, the Attorney General should make sure that the evidence that he puts forth to the court is watertight to get prosecution.
So these are very wild allegations.
The people are watching. And they have built the people up. When NDC was coming in, they built the people's confidence up that they were going to handle these particular issues. And so if it turns out that the evidence that was put forward in court, that evidence did not allow the people to be punished, then they should be careful next election what can happen. Because these are some of the issues that people will decide whether to vote for one or another. One of the things that made the MPP lose a lot of votes was LGBTQI. They underestimated the people's revulsion of LGBTQI, and it affected them in the election. So the NDC government should be very mindful of some of the things that the people were dead against and make sure they give the people what they expect from them. If it so happens that they can prove with, beyond all reasonable doubt that LGBTQI isn't something that we should worry about, then they should come and bring the proof.
Doc, final thoughts and let's wrap up.
Well, my final thoughts are that Sedinam Tamaklo is still not in Ghana. It will be good for us to have her come and serve her full term.
That has got to do with how you put the what you call it to them.
Allow me to finish my point, okay? Sedinam Tamaklo is not in Ghana. It's important that we have her to come in, and also to say that we need to create a culture of accountability, okay, rather than political stigmatization and victimization. And I would like to thank Chairman Nanabuja. He gifted me the cap I'm wearing. Very beautiful cap.
Well, thank you also, and thank you to Royal King Cracker. Thank you to Franco Trading Enterprise.